Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you're safe and sound. Real Madrid have dispatched the opposition by the narrowest of margins and were able to secure a 9-point lead at the top of the table, but once again it was another performance that keeps raising more questions. Our desire to see a dominant display stays unfulfilled in the new year, and largely Madrid are getting more and more dependent on individual brilliance to bail them out in tight situations. I don't know if I said this before, but this Real Madrid side reminds me of the Barcelona team that Ernesto Valverde used to manage. It's also a side that used to play a pragmatic brand of football. They had an aging core, they were heavily reliant on individual brilliance of Suarez and of course Leo Messi, but I distinctly remember that people didn't get any joy in watching them play. They would secure wins by narrow margins, and yes, they went on to win La Liga as well, playing that brand, but in the long term it was quite evident that individual brilliance was just papering over the huge cracks which were getting more and more evident with each passing year. In the same way, we find Madrid are playing an extremely pragmatic brand of football. We don't have flair in a game, we don't have the charisma that we had in the early months of the season, and Ancelotti truly is walking a very tight rope. If he doesn't get Madrid to play as a unit, if he doesn't get Madrid to bring some tenacity in the style of play, we might get exposed in a few games, and that, I do believe, will be painful for all the stakeholders involved. So in this video, we would be doing the post-match analysis of Real Madrid versus Rayo Vallecano. We'll talk about the significant happenings of the game, and without further ado, let's get started. And having a look at the lineup, there was Courtois in goal. In the back four, we had Militao, Nacho, Mendy, and Dani Carvajal. In the midfield, we had Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric. And in attack, we had Benzema, Vinicius, and Asensio. And before doing the analysis, let's quickly do the shout-out. Only one of you was able to get the correct scoreline, and today's shout-out winner is Mr. Max, and I congratulate you for being spot on with your predictions. By sharing some thoughts on the starting 11, we had pretty much expected to see the side. In fact, it was the exact same lineup we had discussed in the match preview. We had suspected that Ancelotti would line up this way because Real Madrid already had a week of rest, and that was sufficient time for Ancelotti to think about fielding all the veterans once again. I personally would have liked a few changes, but we know Ancelotti doesn't like tinkering with his tried and tested starting 11, and as we have seen throughout the course of the season, the coach doesn't make many changes unless there's an absolute necessity. Now, of course, one can say that Ancelotti is getting results and is justified in his selection, but I have said this before and I'll say it again, Ancelotti is failing to properly utilize the squad he has. A squad where most players are involved tend to have a higher probability of winning silverware, and about this man, what can we say at this point? Him staying fit after such a long time and not getting a hint of action, that's just surprising to me. I can understand that Ancelotti doesn't have a lot of confidence in him, but at least he has the potential to be a difference maker coming off the bench, and by not using him at all, we are not doing any favor to the player. But talking about how things panned out in the first half, we can say it was another first half where Real Madrid failed to trouble the scorers. It's just astonishing that we have failed to score in the first half in the past 8 games, and this game as well was played on similar lines. The pitch, of course, wasn't well maintained, it didn't support quick passing, and we could see the players were unable to bring a zip to the passing game. Defensively, Rayo set up in the 4-4-2, and when the pressure was more, they dropped very deep and formed a low block. The wingers used to tuck in and formed a back six, crowding the penalty area, and as a result, Real Madrid found it very tough to break down the opposition. It was also half where Real Madrid lacked control of proceedings. We regularly lost balls. Casemiro especially was trying a few fancy things, but it wasn't coming off, and he lost possession very cheaply a few times. He was one of the worst performers yesterday, and what Rayo did very well was they pressed Madrid into making mistakes. They put in a lot of effort to recover possession quickly. They forced errors out of Mendy in the back line, and what Rayo did very well was keeping Benzema and Vinicius quiet, which of course was an accomplishment in its own. So yes, Madrid did not convince. The only player with a positive performance in the first half was Marco Asensio. He was getting into good positions and came very close to scoring, but unfortunately for him, Lucas Zidane was playing at an exceptionally high level. He made some jaw-dropping saves, and Real Madrid again had to enter halftime even Steven. So once again, Ancelotti needed to reassess his plan and come out with a better solution. The second half, I think, was interesting in its own right, because in my opinion, we saw the midfield that Madrid would be fielding against PSG. In the 68th minute, Valverde was brought on for Carlos Casemiro, and thank goodness Ancelotti was proactive to bring on the youngster. It was a timely substitution, and it was again good to see the impact that Valverde brings with his presence. He was stretching those legs, he improved our pressing game, he was creating chances from deep, he carved out a good chance for Modric, who we could see was staying more advanced since Valverde was brought on, and this is what we most likely are going to see against PSG. We know Ancelotti is looking for Casemiro's replacement. We also know Camavinga's name comes to our mind as someone who has the attributes closest to the Brazilian, but I don't think Ancelotti would fancy Camavinga in such a huge game. He lacks the experience of playing at such a high level, the pressure would be immense, there would be no room for error, and Ancelotti would be more likely to line up with a midfield of Modric, Kroos and Valverde, rather than a midfield involving Camavinga. So let's see if Ancelotti makes more test runs with this midfield before the PSG game. We play the next game against Sociedad on 5th, and I am expecting the coach would be making another trial run of his midfield before the ultimate game arrives. But coming back to the game, Valverde was the difference maker in the midfield as Madrid kept putting more pressure on Rayo. It was evident that Rayo players had begun to tire, and from past experience, we know Real Madrid usually like to go all out in the final minutes. We finally got the goal late in the game, and we had no surprises as to who would bail Madrid out. He has done it so many times before. It all started with Benzema and Rodrigo linking up at the edge of the box. Benzema sent Vinicius through, which forced the keeper to come out and attack. Vinicius was wise enough to show the maturity to not take the shot and had anticipated the run of Karim Benzema. It was telepathic play, and Benzema was in the right place to slot it home and take home all the 3 points. So overall, Rayo gave a good account of themselves at home. Madrid got the winner, but we can agree that we need Madrid to improve in every aspect of the game. They were rattled by Rayo a few times. Sergio Guardiola had some very good opportunities to score and hand Rayo the lead, but of course we needed a big Belgian wall to rise up to the occasion. We needed the brilliance of Thibaut Courtois to stay in the game, and we all know without Courtois pulling off those amazing saves, Real Madrid would have been in very deep trouble. So thumbs up to Thibaut Courtois, and hopefully he'll maintain his illustrious form in the important months ahead. So those were my thoughts from the game, and let's conclude this video by hearing the thoughts of Carlo Ancelotti. The coach first assessed the performance of the team as he said, "I'm very pleased with the work, with the level of commitment and the intensity shown by the whole team. The atmosphere, the opposition and the pitch, which wasn't good, didn't make it an easy game. It was difficult, and that is why we did so well. I don't think many teams have won here by many goals. This was going to be that type of game, and we competed well." Then Ancelotti was asked about the performance of Carlos Casemiro and why he was taken off early in the game. The coach replied, "The midfielder suffered more today because the pitch wasn't good, and I took him off because the yellow card could have become dangerous. It was a back and forth game, but he did well. He scored the goal, even if it didn't count." And lastly, Ancelotti was asked if Thibaut Courtois was the reason why Real Madrid secured the 3 points in the game, and he responded, "If he appears, it means he's good. He's proven to be decisive in many games. It's not right to say that we won only because of him today. We won because we played better, and we deserved it." So those were the thoughts of the coach, and that wraps up the post-match analysis of Real Madrid versus Rayo Vallecano. Do let me know what were your thoughts from the game. We saw some interesting developments yesterday, and your thoughts in the comments below would be very much appreciated. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care. Glory to Madrid. And as always, a Madrid.